Welcome to Turtle WoW News with Vrograg. I'm your news anchor orc Vrograg Fishslayer, here to bring you all the server news for the week of August 8th, 2023. I am broadcasting from outside of an old home of mine, the headquarters of South Fury Trading Company. I was able to get a wyvern from Stone Talon Peaks and asked my flying mount to let me down here so I could catch some rest and relaxation from my journeys. The news has been slow lately, or perhaps this orc is just a little tired, so the broadcast will be a little shorter, but we still have some impactful things to cover, from quality of life adjustments for hardcore players, market watch, changelog roundup, and a feature story about guild-based changes coming soon. So, let's get to it. I'm the orc, and here's the news. Our top story today involves a pair of changes coming for hardcore players. Turtle WoW has seen massive influxes of new players recently. To meet that need, dynamic respawning has been employed as a way to handle the crowds competing for limited monsters in crowded zones. However, in the latest changelog, Turtle WoW disabled dynamic respawns for some creatures frequently found in caves. In the hardcore community, the saying, "caves are graves," is particularly pertinent because a player can get pinned in an area if monsters start respawning suddenly. By turning off dynamic spawning in caves, farming and progression can become more manageable for hardcore players with one life because multiple powerful quest bosses in one small location makes caves even more deadly. So, waiting 5 minutes for a respawn in a cave seems like a good trade-off for not needlessly losing hours of hardcore progress. The other hardcore-oriented change comes from the changelog note added for Azeroth's Mortal Champions. The Turtle team announced that they will have added protection for hardcore players when the server is overloaded. Server performance issues have led to unfair player deaths in the past, and this seeks to remedy that. The new safeguard aims to prevent lag spikes or stuttering gameplay from allowing mobs to barrage hardcore characters and instantly kill them. According to Turtle WoW community manager Akalix, basically mobs won't catch up ticks by spamming a ton of hits in one. Currently what happens is, when there is some sort of a hiccup with the server or on the client, the monster will just stand there and wait a certain amount of time until things catch up. Meanwhile, the monster starts to calculate how many times it should have hit you. In the meanwhile, you're standing there doing nothing. So suddenly, when everything catches back up, you could be hit multiple times with no way to deal with it, whether it's drinking a potion, popping a defensive, or just running away. This change will help ensure hardcore players aren't punished by technical problems outside of their control. Reaction from hardcore players seems positive so far, with many expressing relief that server troubles are less likely to abruptly end their one shot at this life. Our last breaking story involves mass transportation. Though the only example I could find involved the custom Zeppelin from outside Orgrimmar to Kargath, I have heard stories about other transport routes being affected. Evidently, some players, like GitHub contributor Caesar Pix, noted that jumping onto the airship before it stopped was necessary because otherwise it would vanish. This no doubt made traveling both perilous and dangerous for those seeking to tour the world. The problem was so pernicious that it was noted on the August 1st changelog and seemed to be primarily the reason for an unscheduled hotfix days later on the 3rd. Since the most recent hotfix, things seem to be working again. Let's hope for the best for those brave enough to take to the skies to seek out new lands. Now, let's go take a look at Market Watch. Welcome to Market Watch, where we track commodities traded on the auction house to watch for trends of the market. I was able to revive the SNV6 this week, and in my studies I also figured out how to add trend lines to all the graphs. Let me know what you think. Let's start with our recently returned index, the SNV6. Since we've been tracking things, the market index has had highs and lows, but only in the last few weeks really started breaking into new ground as it ended at 18.55. Much of this is likely from the population explosion, putting such high demand on the markets. Now let's go take a look at the stocks. Black Lotus. Prices have been volatile in the short term, ranging between 20 to 29 over the past 2 weeks, But longer term, prices declined about 10% from 19 gold to 17 gold before recovering to current levels around 23. Demand seems to be recovering. Arcane Crystals. Over the last 2 weeks, prices have held very stable between 25 and 27 gold. After rising about 15% from the 15 gold range earlier this summer. The long-term trend shows strengthening demand for sure. Cured Rugged Hide. Recently, prices climbed from 18 gold to 20 gold, a 10% increase in just 2 weeks. But longer term, prices dropped 15% from 23 gold before rebounding to 24 gold, indicating healthy demand overall despite its recent depreciation. Mooncloth. No clear price trends in the short term. Prices continue to swing wildly between 16 and 29 gold, but they are overall down from about 15% on the summer high, closer to 30 gold. Grom's Blood. Remarkably consistent pricing around the 80 silver per unit, with no appreciation over the past 2 weeks. Since demand started being met back in mid-June, the price has been slowly falling 20% to where it is now today. Large Brilliant Shards. Continuing a downward trend, prices dipped about 5% from 4 gold to around 3.8 just recently. Since tracking began, prices have fallen approximately 30% from the 5 to 6 gold range back when we started tracking. Stone Scale Eels. Our slippery friends continue to stay relatively flat over the 2-week period, showing that supply has been able to keep up with the population boom, and overall is well within the market norms for our oily little buddy. That's all we have for Market Watch for now. Make sure to let us know what you think about the improved graphics that we've provided. For now though, let's get back to the news with Vrograg over in the Baron. The changelog for August 4th wasn't that extensive, but there were some interesting things that I thought we should note here on the program, so let's get to them quickly with the changelog roundup. Alliance raiders hoping to get a tune for the Onyxia raid will now find that Lady Katrana Prester will actually respawn after the player leaves combat during the Great Masquerade quest event, which is necessary to turn in the final part of the epic quest chain. Surprisingly, the Royal Advisor doesn't seem too perturbed by this change. Players on the server who have been bombarded with messages informing them of hardcore deaths will now find that their server announcements have been much more quiet. And that is very likely because in the changelog, hardcore messages for anything under level 40 have to be opt-in. Any player would have to use the .hc message command in order to enable them again, making it a opt-in feature rather than automatically there. With the big influx of players trying hardcore, this is a nice change of pace for people trying to actually see their chat. Priests finally got one of their last things promised to them initially this last winter with class changes. Added to their spell repertoire is a level 40 spell called Champion's Grace, which will increase the healing received by the chosen priest's champion by 11%. Let's hope next time class changes come for them, they won't have to wait so long. Congratulations either way. That concludes the brief changelog roundup. Now let's move over to our feature story. Now, some Turtle WoW news fans may already know this, but the South Fury Trading Company guild base that we're in right now was actually my first home. I thought it would be a pertinent place to report on our feature story since it involves guild bases. There was a community forum post made by Torta yesterday about upcoming changes to the game's guild housing system. Currently, players that are in guilds that have bases can use their tabard as a kind of accessory hearthstone that will bring them to their guild base. These bases were, in the past, made in collaboration with a role-playing GM and situated in places suitable for the lore of the guild in question. Torta explained, this approach is increasingly difficult to maintain as the server grows, and some of the guild bases offer travel advantages or other convenient NPCs at the base that might make things unfair for newer players or ones not in the right guild. Going forward, Turtle WoW team has expressed that they would like to explore adding an official guild housing system, accessible to all guilds equally, via instance settings in the Caverns of Time. This would let guilds customize their own instance spaces without overcrowding the shared world and offering a shared space for role players to gather. In the thread, when pressed for more specifics, Torta said details are still in flux based on how development goes. She estimated a 70% chance guild halls will stay fully intact, but a 30% chance that they will get moved to a phased version only visitable through the Caverns of Time. While the vagueness worried some veteran guilds, Torta reiterated no changes will happen soon. Turtle WoW merely wants to improve the quality and accessibility down the road. For now, the server's treasured community-made guild bases remain intact as part of the living, breathing world of Turtle WoW, but their long-term fate depends on Turtle WoW's growth, developer needs, and community feedback. I know personally, and have heard from many people about this subject already, that the topic is complicated. For some, a guild house is a home. For others, it's a place to meet before raid. And still others, it's just a fun place to find and explore while searching the custom assets here on Turtle WoW. I understand the Turtle team doesn't come to these decisions lightly, and they are still looking for community feedback. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description of the video to the forum thread where they're continuing to have the conversation about guild bases in their future. Before you go though, you might want to take this chance to see all of Turtle WoW's guild bases in the world while they still exist. If you're an intrepid explorer who doesn't want to miss out before these places get moved, then feel free to check out another link I'll leave in the description for the location of all the known guild bases. This list was painstakingly curated by Karanos in the Turtle WoW forums. Safe travels and have fun. That's all the time we have for now. The fish like biting this time of day, so I want to sign off quickly. Before I go, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also catch me on Saturdays, where I schedule a stream where Turtle WoW news fans come to fish and hang out with yours truly. Hope to see you there. Sorry if the episode was a bit shorter than normal. Even if the news never sleeps, sometimes I need to. I hope to see you next time, and with more energy. Until then, I wish you safe travels here on Turtle WoW, and remember, the deadliest weapon is knowledge.